Should you be afraid of condos with high maintenance fees? Well, most of us don't want to pay more maintenance fees than we need to. After all, the maintenance fees don't build up your equity. They are there for very important reasons. They help maintain the building and keep the elevator working and remove all that snow in the winter time. But for most of us, most people would prefer to have lower maintenance fees in their condo building. But is that always the best approach? If we look at the condos that generally have higher maintenance fees, it is usually older condos. And it makes sense, they are older, and just like human beings, they do need repairs after a little while. So you need to fix up those elevators, those windows, upgrade the hallways. All these things cost money, and it leads to higher maintenance fees. Also, historically, older condos were built mostly in the 70s and 80s as a place where your life will become a lot better. It was a lifestyle choice, kind of like purchasing a condo in Florida now. If you moved into a condominium in Toronto in the 70s and 80s, you would want a pool, you would want a tennis court. It would all be about a lifestyle that was about leisure and fun. And nowadays that just equates to more money spent on the amenities. So older condos generally have the higher fees. So it would appear that having a newer condo will lead to having lower maintenance fees. And that is usually the case, but let's take a little bit of a closer look. If you have a new condo, a brand new condo, your reserve fund is at 0. And if you need to build up that reserve fund, which you will, so that you can pay for things in the future, like those elevator repairs and those updates to the windows, you will need to have some money in the condo bank. So in the first 5 years of a newer condo, fees tend to go up quite a bit. You may see the maintenance fees listed at a certain number when you first buy, but I guarantee you that at year 5, it's going to be quite a bit higher. So expect those fees to go up. Another point worth making, maintenance fees may be high in older condos, but it includes a lot of stuff. I'm not just talking about the pools and the tennis courts. I'm also talking about the heat, the hydro, and in some cases, the cable television, if you are into that kind of thing. In the newer condos, the heat, the hydro, and the cable TV is often extra, so the fees may appear higher for older condos, but it does include a lot more of the expenses. The last point I'd like to make has to do with high-rise condominiums versus smaller boutique condominiums. So if you have a larger high-rise condominium, you are going to have more units, and you're going to have those maintenance fees spread out between more units, and they will be lower. Now, on the flip side of that, if you had a smaller boutique condominium, it is going to have fewer units, and those maintenance fees are going to be spread out between fewer people, and they are going to be a little higher. So if you are looking for lower maintenance fees, you're going to go for the larger condominium. Now, I should point out that when it comes to resale, people tend to really like unique properties, and that is going to be more likely a boutique, smaller building. If you have the same unit in the same building, 3 of them for sale at the same time, it is going to push that price down, and it is not going to be as great for resale. So don't always look for the lower maintenance fee. Sometimes if you go for the higher maintenance fee for a more unique property, you have a better opportunity when it comes to a resale down the road. This leads back to my original question. Should you be afraid of higher maintenance fees? And the short answer is maybe. You should look into why those maintenance fees are high. That is the key. You should also be very aware of how the reserve fund is functioning in the condominium you want to buy, and you want to make sure you're not having one special assessment after another in the condo you were looking at, and it's important to look at that resale as well. So maintenance fees are important, but they are not everything. And remember, just because the fees are high, it doesn't necessarily mean that condo is a bad idea. And just because the fees are low doesn't mean that you should be buying that condo.